Welcome to the Mada Hugh Piano Duo podcast. I'm Hugh.
I'm Mada, and for today we have chosen an unusual topic,
Yeah,
and we hope fun topic.
We'll try to see if it could be fun, but we were just talking and thinking, what would be a nice subject for our next episode? We thought, why don't we talk about the fact that, well, first of all, you're Romanian, I'm Korean, and so maybe we can give some advice. What's it like to date a Romanian woman, and conversely, what's it like
to date a Korean American guy?
We're married now, so we're past the dating stage, but it's still nice, I think, even for us being married, to remind ourselves of what we enjoyed as we were dating and as we were getting to know each other.
Sometimes the proper question would be like, what's it like to survive with a Romanian? What's it like to survive with a Korean American? So
maybe I'll get started. Again, you're the first Romanian person that I've known as a Romanian. I know there are other people that maybe have Romanian backgrounds, but you're the first one I've ever met from Romania, so this is a brand new experience for me. And in fact, it was interesting. I started researching a little bit on YouTube how to date Romanian women. And these are some of the things that I came up with, some of the videos that I actually found pretty applicable. So tell me if you think this is crazy. So number one, first of all, Romanian women, from what I've said, okay, I'm going to just apply this to you.
Judging.
Okay,
I'm not judging.
Romanian women are very expressive. They're very communicative. They don't hold anything back. They really let you know what they're thinking, what they're feeling. There's not much subtlety.
More often than not, because it has to do with individual, of course. But more often than not, yes, this is something cultural. We are loud. We are Latins.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was very interesting. The other thing that I found interesting about Romanian, at least from what as getting to know you, you like it when the man is assertive. Okay, a little bit, And so I remember when I first met you, I was being very polite, very gentle, very being deferring. And that turned you off.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, of course, I like civilized people.
Okay.
I confess, I like civilized people.
Sure.
But of course, it's good for a first impression to be polite and a gentleman. Let's not use polite. Let's use the word gentleman.
That's a good way. Okay.
I think this is the best way.
But I think what more to the point was. Instead of just always saying, well, whatever you want, you actually appreciated when I was more clear about, no, this is what I like.
And this has come with time.
Sure. Yeah, I've had to learn how to be a little bit more assertive and not be afraid to say.
Communicative. We'll get to that.
Yeah, I think that's the big thing. Romanians communicate. Now, that can mean right off the bat what they're feeling. You don't hold back. And it sometimes comes off a little strong.
Yeah.
But the good thing, I think, especially getting to know you, is you're always very sincere, and you kind of expect the same in return. So that's. The other thing that I found has been a good tip for dating a Romanian woman is to fall in love with their culture. So if you can appreciate their food, and Romanian food is wonderful, and I'm still exploring more and more of it. I love the food, I love the cooking, and in the language, I'm slowly working on learning Romanian. It's a beautiful language, and I think you've appreciated that I'm investing so much time and effort into learning Romanian. I'm also spending a lot of time listening to traditional Romanian folk music. The auras and the dances and all these different regional kinds of music. So I've been falling in love with your culture. And I think a good advice if you're dating a Romanian woman is if you can love her, take interest in your culture, in your background, the foods, and of course the Romanian community is so warm and welcoming. That's been the most surprising thing as a Korean American, and just feeling so welcome with our dear Romanian friends. They're just treating me like family. And if you can win the hearts of not just you, but also your Romanian community,
win-win.
Win-win. So those are my dating advice in terms of.
I would add the fact that, like you said, to put an effort, to make an effort for something, to take interest into something, that's I guess it's cultural, but at least, you know, let's talk individual. For me, that's big, you know, because I, like you said, I try to be sincere with certain people that I'm the closest, right? And obviously you're one of them, in asking for something, demanding something, or expressing something, right? But also I expect the same in return, right? Because if it's just one way, it does not work, period.
Sure.
So taking the time into just learning something, or getting to know about something, or, you know, sometimes I would just hear you doing the Duolingo lessons and trying to, you know, understand how the grammar works and how, you know, the order of the words works. You know, sometimes I just, you know, I try to listen, and it's just so sweet that you want this, you want to do this, and you have a genuine interest. So this is a big win.
Sure. So do you want to talk a little bit about any advice that you can give for some folks who are involved with Koreans?
Yeah, well, I've noticed that, again, I'm just going to talk about you, because you're, again, the first Asian person I've ever been with. In fact, before I met you, a couple months before, I had made a very firm and clear statement to my best friend, Evelyn, that I would never, ever in a million billion years date an Asian guy. And then fate decided to mock me.
Into your life.
And then fate, decided to mock me and to say, oh yeah, well, we shall see about that. Here, take this, have this. So the fact that at first you were not so used to having someone loud around.
Yep.
Having someone so communicative about anything, right? Because again, as part of my culture, we're used to we talk. This is how you get to live, I guess. You know, to express ideas, to learn, to find out, to know someone. You just talk. You share. We have this gift of communication, right? We talk. But something that I have learned from this, now this is the other side of the coin, right, is that sometimes talking can be damaging. So sometimes too much of something can be not for the better, but for the worse. So I've learned with you to select, I would say. Learn to select and learn to filter. First of all, filter through my own brain and see if it's just an impulse, if it's just a mood thing, or if it's something that really necessitates attention, you know. And we are fortunate to have a very, very, very good support, and we have had a good support, and we have friends that, you know, cherish us and help us a lot.
I think another interesting difference is that I think Romanians excel in the communication. I think Koreans, I'm just speaking generally speaking, we tend to view actions over words. We don't express, say, I love you or I care for you. We tend to just show it in acts of service, you know. So, you know, in other words, maybe doing, you know, cleaning, maybe doing the dishes, or taking care of things, or folding the laundry, or cooking, serving. I mean, I think a lot of times we tend to want to show our affection, but we're not very good at verbalizing it.
Yeah,
you know?
I mean, I agree with that, but in my case, I'm a 50-50 person. I mean, I like to show, obviously, but I also like to express, because sometimes we are so busy that we don't have time to observe things. So sometimes it's good to actually hear. It's good to have you say some things so that I pay attention to you, rather than, you know, maybe I'm distracted and I don't get to notice something, or you don't get to notice something. And, it's good to have a mix. I would say it's good to have a mix, but it's interesting because so far we have worked towards same goals, but what I've noticed, and you thought to be very interesting, that we are coming from very different angles.
Sure, yeah.
For many things we are approaching some things, including music. We're approaching it from very different perspectives.
Sure.
But we have the same goal. Now, our task so far, it has been focusing on the goal more than how we approach it.
Sure.
I mean, yeah.
Sure. I guess I'll preface this too by saying that I think you have a much more, coming from Romania, this is your direct country lineage. For me, I'm a little bit of a mix because while I'm ethnically Korean, I was born in the United States, so I really feel, in a sense, much more Americanized.
Yeah,
I don't have.
I say yes.
Yes.
Very.
Yes. But there are Korean traits in my upbringing because I was brought up here. So it's interesting that I am drawn to kind of the strength of your cultural background a little bit more because it's more vivid, Whereas for me, it's not as much. I mean, there are subtle things in my cultural background, but it's not as dominant, believe it or not, in me as it is in you. So that's another really interesting difference I think that we have here. But I think for general dating advice, if I were to just give a good advice to any of the folks out there interested in dating a Romanian, again, maybe not even just Romanian, but just any cross-cultural dating situation is taking a strong interest in the other person's
into the culture. And I've been doing the same thing with your culture, but like you said, your Korean lineage is not as strong as my Romanian lineage is. Right. But the number one good thing that I've tried, and it's absolutely amazing, is the food, Korean food.
Sure.
And you're a master at cooking Korean ribs. Or when we have gone out to Korean restaurants, you pick the best ones, and I had a taste.
And I appreciate that. I love the fact that you love the foods that I love from my background too. And again, I love the Romanian food. So another strong dating advice there. If you enjoy the other culture's foods, that's another big win towards winning the heart of the other person,
goes
right?
Through the belly.
The stomach.
The stomach, yeah.
So let's see. Maybe we'll just kind of close off if we can maybe just summarize. If you could summarize your top 3 tips for somebody trying to approach a Korean or Korean American, what would they be?
I would say, had you worn this shirt when I met you,
magnet shirt.
I don't know. Right now I would say that I would have been drawn faster to you.
Really?
I don't know back then, though. I mean, back then it's like
you got
almost
me
3
this
years.
shirt, by the way.
I got you this shirt because I thought it was funny. So I would say sometimes Romanians have a weird sense of humor.
All right, so top 3 tips for dating somebody like me. What would you advise?
Force them to communicate.
Okay.
No, force it's not quite the right word, but emphasize the role and the importance of communication, because you cannot possibly read the other person's mind unless they open their mouth and they say, I think that, I want that, etc.
Number 2.
Take interest in their food. I mean, really, it has worked for us.
Yep.
It just,
And your 3rd tip for dating a Korean American?
Well, make an effort. I would say it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be Korean American. I would say make an effort. Make an effort to understand not only the cultural background, but understand the person, because cultural background is something general, but a person is something unique, something individual, and every person relates differently.
Sure.
In the end, it relates differently to that general cultural background. So I would say make an effort.
Sure.
That's my.
So
how about you?
Yeah,
how about you? Top 3 dating advice.
So top 3 dating advice for dating Romanian. I mean, I think there's some similar things. Of course, number 1, show a love for the culture, the food, the language. I mean, maybe not so much the language if necessary, but I think everything helps. You know, when you show that you're interested in her and her background, that's a huge plus. And again, I think number 2, as a Korean American, you know, being more exposed to the world of Romanian culture, understanding the differences between acts of service and words of affection, right? I think understanding how important words are and expressing them, that's not easy for I think for Koreans or Asians in general, but understanding the importance of words and using those words in addition to those acts of service goes a long way. Okay. And number 3, patience. Lots and lots.
Well, I would say, okay, if you want to play that game, well, I would say the same thing: patience, patience, patience.
Absolutely. I mean, I think the beautiful thing about any great relationship is that it's, you know, just like with music, you know, practicing, the time spent, you know, working through difficult things, always leads to a wonderful result.
And, I would say if you decide it's worth it. Obviously. That's why I said, like, make an effort, but I should have added if it's worth it, if you think that it's worth it. Sure.
So. Anyway, we'd love to know what you think of our kind of brief dating advice episode, specifically between Romanians and Koreans.
It was actually very sweet when you confessed to me a couple months later that you had watched something like, you know, a video on how to date Romanian women. I thought it was, you know, I thought it was weird, but also very sweet that you gave away your time and energy to actually.
And again, one of the bits of it, maybe I should have thrown this as one of my top 3 things is, you know, and from the male perspective, to be more assertive, and that's not really in my nature per se on a personal basis, but to be assertive and not to be afraid of masculinity. It's kind of, you know, strange thing to say perhaps in this day and age, but that's something I know you have expressed that you appreciate, you know, very much. So and again, very, very interesting perspective.
So, you know, I would say like I stated earlier, we have same goals. We have the same target, but let's say for you kind of have to, for you it's with a plus, for me it's with a minus, in terms of like I have to temper myself a little bit.
Okay, I see what you mean.
In terms of to hit the middle ground, it's all about the middle ground, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm not talking about extremes like having one instead of the other.
No, but building,
never works. But
building something
together. It's
very,
very interesting, you know, when we realize that.
Anyway, let us know what you think of this episode. This is a little bit of an experiment on our end. If you want to hear more dating or relationship thoughts or advice, I'm not sure we're we're certainly not experts, but we're working on a relationship and certainly are happy to share the joys that we have discovered being together. It's been a wonderful journey, and we look forward to continuing on learning and growing together, and not just in music, but in our lives that we share with you. Thank you so much.
I would actually add one bonus tip.
Okay, one bonus tip.
Humor.
Yes. That's an excellent one.
Humor, but again, it all relies to what kind of individual the person is.
That's how
But in our case, it works.
Yeah.
You know, you have this talent of making funny voices. I love it, right? I mean, like, just yesterday, I discovered that you can do Yogi Bear, and it's something that it's a character that I love.
And also the cartoons.
The cartoons, yes.
We love Peanuts and Calvin and Hobbes. That's how we.
So this kind of, I would say, childhood humor. Right? It works.
At least for us.
At least for us, yes.
Find your humor point, and maybe something completely different, but find your humorous connection with the other person, and that'll go a long way.
Yeah.
Anyway, for the Mada Hugh Show, I'm Hugh.
I'm Mada. Thank you for watching this and waiting for your comments and thoughts. And we will see you next time with another fun episode.